on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. We have a serious conversation to have today.
Before we get serious, how about we just talk about how wretched I look and how glorious she looks, and we both came from the same workout. I need her hair products. Maybe we should do a video on that. All right, let's get serious.
Okay, so we had a conversation very briefly the other day. I didn't know this, but Jen is retired.
Yes, sir.
She's officially not competing anymore. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today, a little bit about how it feels and all those things. I've also retired. So I said if I ever get my breasts redone, it will be after I am done competing, and I've obviously made that decision recently, so I'm also retired. So we are going to have that conversation today.
So why don't you start?
Okay.
All right. So we're going to talk about
why.
Yeah.
The why behind it.
Okay,
first.
so let's start with that.
We'll start with that. So myself, I've done videos on it. I have 2 torn labrums, one on each side, and I have a torn lat. And I think it's not really the labrums that are limiting me, but it's definitely the partial tear in my lat. I have a really hard time deadlifting. I can't really engage my lat completely. So being that I compete in strength sports, it's hard to compete and not compete to be the best. So there's really, to me, and I might get hate for this, but in my mind, there's no reason for me to keep competing if I can't physically be the best in my sport.
Why would you get hate for that?
Well, because
that's the point of competing, is to be the best.
It is, but people love to compete just for the joy of competing. I don't.
No, I don't either.
I only like to compete to try and win an event. So that's basically why I'm not competing anymore. I'm too injured at this point to be the best in my sport. So I've thrown in the towel.
So I think it's crazy that both of us have the exact same reasoning. I mean, this is the reason why I think that we do so well, like when we film together and all that, and we feed off of each other, because both of us have like this same
We're crazy
ish going on in our mind. Because I don't even understand that concept, to compete just to compete. Like, if the point of the point of competing is to be the best, to be number one, not number two.
Yeah.
Like, not just to compete. So, now my reasoning is, competing, there's like, I feel like there's 2 reasons to become an IFBB Pro and compete in bodybuilding. And it's to be a competition prep coach, which I don't think it's necessary. There are a lot of very smart, very educated coaches out there that are not IFBB pros. So I don't think that you need to get a pro card, but maybe people feel like they need to, just to establish like a reputation or whatever.
That's
to get
fair.
people. Yeah. So there's that, and I am not a competition prep coach. I will never prep anybody for a show. If I have 50 slots available for clients, I want, and this is going to sound weird, I want 50 miserable people that I want to change their lives. That's what I want.
I don't
want
think
somebody,
that's weird at all. I think that's what you work well with these people,
right,
and you change their lives. So that's not weird. That's just
right,
something that you specialize in.
Right. So it's not like I want people to be miserable, but I'm motivated by, like, it's never a bother when a client's like, I'm having a really bad day, I don't want to bother you. And I'm like, I don't love that you're miserable, but I love that you're coming to me because I'm going to help you not be miserable.
Because now you're building you're good at building relationships.
With the people, with themselves. That's, I think, my gift. Helping people learn how to take their own pain away. I'm not taking your pain away. I'm teaching you how to take your own pain away. So again, there's no point. I don't want to be a competition prep coach. So there's that. And then to be the best. So in bodybuilding, the pinnacle of bodybuilding is Olympia.
Yes.
I love my tattoos. Tattoos are like, it's a story. Every one of my tattoos has a story, so I love them. But unfortunately, even though it hasn't been said, it's not in writing or anything like that, they're never gonna pick me as Miss Figure Olympia, and figure is where I wanna stay. I don't even really wanna stay there. I like the look, because it is just big enough to have nice quads, nice glutes, nice back and shoulders, and beautiful symmetry like Coke bottle, old school Coke bottle. But still feminine. I don't want to go into physique or bodybuilding. I don't want that. I don't want striated glutes. I just don't. And I probably could maybe win if I decided to go that route with the tattoos, but I don't think they're ever going to pick me I can almost guarantee that they would never pick me with my tattoos, no matter how bad my body is, no matter how perfect I am, and I'll just, because Miss Vitamin C has won 6 times, Sydney, whatever her last name is, sorry. If I could get my body to look better than her, which if I wanted to, I would, just because that's who I am. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. They won't pick me over her just because of my tattoos. So if I can't win first place at the Olympia, then I do not want to put my body through that. Plus, I love the process, and we'll get into that in a second. But before we get into that, my other reasoning is I've been on my own since I was 16. I'm going to be 46, so that's 30 years of just working, having anywhere from 2 to 4 jobs at one time. I've been on 3 vacations that don't even count. We're not going to go into it. Away with kids, away with work, and away with whatever. I want to go on a vacation. And if I want to go on a vacation for a week to a tropical island, I don't want to take off there and then take off again to compete. And I have a business and I love my business. I do in-person training. So then that means I have to take off 2 to 3 times a year.
For your clients.
For my clients, for competition and vacation, quality of life. So for me, I just want to be able to take off once or twice a year for myself.
I think that's fair.
And that's it. And just enjoy life. I've worked so hard for the past 30 years, and I'm not saying I'm not going to work hard, but like, we work as hard as we work so we can enjoy ourselves.
Right.
So.
And honestly, like, as fun as the fitness is, it's work to keep up on physiques and stuff. It really is. So to be able to take a little bit of time for yourself would probably be really, really nice, and probably long overdue.
Yes, long overdue. Okay, so then now the thought process behind how is your mind in reference, because I think our thing is going to be a little different.
Yeah, definitely going to be different because I this sounds funny. Kind of like I explained, like being a cop. Like when you're a police officer or a firefighter, you identify as, a police officer for years of your life. It's who you are. You've become that.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been doing this for so long that I've just become a strength athlete. And I don't know how to not be one. And it's definitely a mind.
Are you still battling that?
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah. It's so hard.
So like, meaning are you battling it when you walk into the gym?
Yes. So
when you're preparing for what you're going to do that week?
Yeah. So trying to figure out how I'm going to train has been different because normally it's strength sports, right? It's a lot of free weights. It's a lot of pressing. Stuff like that. It's a lot of like deadlifting, back squatting, like really, really important things that exhaust your body. Like I would go heavy back squats and heavy deadlifts in the same day to make myself feel like I would in a strongman competition because your muscles, your central nervous system is so exhausted at the end of a back squat deadlift training session that it does mimic how I would feel in a strongman competition. So I would put myself through these tasks throughout the week. And yeah, training is similar from week to week. Weights change, whatever. But that is the way I used to put myself through training. Now, I've been putting myself through more of a hypertrophy format, a lot of moderately heavy weights and high volume.
I was just going to say.
Which normally I wouldn't do high volume. I would struggle to do the high volume with you, but I could go really heavy. Now my training and my mindset has shifted, and I don't know right now that I love it, but I'm making myself accept it. Is it right before the set, like, oh my God, I only have to do 1 and I can do that for 1, as opposed to now, oh my God, I have to do 12 of these in a row? Yes, and my body gets pretty exhausted. So, and I'm not used to that. I'm used to, a 5x5 or even a 7x3, and I'm like, I could do 3, I could do 5, but now I'm doing like 15 or 20. And, if I set 15 in my head at one point, like we've trained today, like I did 20 because I feel like even though I'm exhausted, I know I can do more because I would have gone heavier. Right. So it's training my mind to think differently. And I don't know if I necessarily love it yet, but like anything, it can be taught. And I'm making myself okay with it. I miss competing. I miss making videos leading up to a competition. Right. Like that, making like YouTube videos. To this competition. Yes. Yeah. And like leading up to a competition to me was so fun. And I'm literally documenting the process not only for the people that follow me, but for myself too, and I get to go back and see like, oh my God, like I could barely do this weight back then and now I'm repping it, and you get to see the whole process through like a 12-week, pre-comp cycle. I would see that process, and it was so empowering. So even if I had a bad competition where I didn't perform the way I wanted to, I can go back and see like, you know what? You killed it this time based on where you started from, and we're going to go further next time. And
so what about changing your documentation? Meaning, what about documenting a different goal?
That's actually not a bad idea.
So like road to, I don't know, road to 5 plates on the leg press for 12 reps. Or road to this body fat.
Okay. I could do that.
Like giving yourself a different goal. So it's still Kristen Graham competing, but you're just competing with yourself.
I could do that. That is actually a really good idea.
And then you make that part fun.
I could do that. I love you.
I love you.
But it was like, it is just emotional and sad, and I don't like it. I like mentally, like I'm not.
Are you
I'm
like
not
still
okay.
mourning it?
Yes, I'm still mourning it because I can actually feel myself like I want to cry. I want to cry thinking about the fact that I'm not going to step out and like, be one of 3 athletes standing on stage competing against each other and like, America's Strongest Woman. Like it kills me, but. Sometimes you just have to accept where you're at.
And at the end of the day, I mean,
I'm healthy.
We're that, and we're also trying to teach each other that we're trying to be a better version of ourselves each day. Mm-hmm. So now you just have to shift to competing against yourself instead of competing against the world.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought you were going to slap me 5. Okay, so mine is totally different. Because for me, I love the process. So some of you may know, most of you may know that I have Crohn's disease and colitis. And 3 years ago, I hurt my back and I have a herniated disc. So for me, it's like, even when I was a child, when I was told I couldn't do something, I wanted to do it 10 times more. Like a rebellious child. But when it came to like things like, a woman can't be as successful as a coach. I've been a coach for 23 years. Like, I had to be 10 times smarter than the average male member at the gym just because women didn't get as much respect back then. Like, there's a lot of female trainers now. There weren't as many back then.
Yeah.
So, for me, I was always, like, in competition with myself. I wanted to be the strongest person in New York Sports Club, not the strongest female there. I wanted to be the smartest. So I got like 7 certifications within the first like 6 months of me being a trainer. Also because I wanted to be a master trainer so I could charge the most. So
also a good goal though.
You're right. So, and also like I'm constantly trying to learn. I mean, even now, like I have no ego. I've been doing it for 23 years and I'm still learning from people. And I'm not just learning from people with more experience. I'm learning from people that maybe only have 1 year experience, but they're biochemists, they're like geniuses.
But if you stop learning, you start failing. And I swear by that in everything in life. So the fact that you do that is amazing.
Yeah. So for me, I love the process. I love going into the gym and seeing what I'm capable of doing, hitting PRs. I love seeing what's going to happen to me if I stay on my plan, which I have to stay on because if not, I'll be in the hospital. Yeah. So like for me, Tony Robbins talks about linking pain and linking pleasure. So if I see bad food, I see an IV in my arm, and you can take that and run with it. So I brought my food with me. I've done like 5 traveling videos. One that's coming out tomorrow about my travel here. And I'm like, I want to see what I can do, what can happen to me. Even after my disc herniation, the doctor said to me, be prepared to never back squat and never deadlift again. And I was like, F you, watch me. And within 8 days, because also my mindset, because I think that we are our own worst enemy, my mindset and the fact that I was eating clean, because I don't eat anything inflammatory because of my condition, I squat 315 pounds within 8 days of being out of the hospital. I did very unconventional, so I actually worked with a power lifter as my rehab. I did reverse hyperextensions 5 days a week, which I believe is a game changer. Louis Simmons is the one that invented that machine. We did that a little bit at my studio when you came out last year or the year before. So for me, I just love the process, and it just worked out that like my process keeps me in shape enough where if I wanted, like when I haven't competed in 4 or 5 years, and Jay Cutler came up to me and he's like, dude, you're training for a show, you're lying. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I hired Andy and we pushed calories and then we pulled them back and I got super peeled, and then he's like, but you should do a show. And he's like, you're 45 years old, you're an inspiration to people that, like, you're not competing, but look at how you walk around. and I have a really fast metabolism, so whatever. So it just so happens that because of my condition, it keeps me in shape. And if I wanted to do a show, the first show I did, which was High Roller, I prepped for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So most people do...
Which is like ungodly.
Most people do a 12, 15, 12, 16, or 20 week prep. I did 6 week prep.
You started ready to go.
Right. And then I came off for like a week. And when I say came off, it's like we weren't like prepping mode. We just like reverse dieted a little bit. And then we went back on the plan. And then I went to Nationals in November 22nd, and that's where I got my pro card. And now I'm done because of what I said. But like, again, I'm not going to train any less. I'm not going to not train any harder. I'm not going to diet any less. I'm not going to not bring my scale and not weigh my food. I love the process of seeing what I'm capable of and breaking,
breaking barriers?
Yeah, and like proving people wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm not motivated by haters. I'm motivated by proving something wrong. Like the whole, you're never going to be able to back squat or deadlift again. Mm-hmm. And then look at what we did on the beach.
Yeah, that's true. And we back squatted.
So that's it. That's my reasoning.
Yeah. And
my process of, I will be very honest, for me, the complete opposite. As soon as I decided to retire, I felt like this.
Relief.
Like, what a relief. I'm going to plan my next vacation. And I pictured turquoise water and me laying on the beach. And then they were making fun of me yesterday. And they're like, I cannot picture you on vacation. So the plan is gym, lay on the beach, gym, lay on the beach. That's going to be maybe 5 days. And then I'll be back.
Into it. Right. If Vegas had a beach, you probably wouldn't even have to travel.
Right, exactly. Or turquoise water. I wouldn't really go anywhere. Just take a couple days off. So that's it. That's my thing.
Yeah. So now... I know with me, I've been able to put more time into my clients. So that's been like a big win for me. So it's always like, well, this stinks, but what can I do to better my life? And I feel like I've been able to take on more clients than I've ever taken before and be able to put out a product that I can be proud of going forward. Yeah. So my life now is constantly like, I don't even do weekly check-ins anymore. That's why I tell people when they sign up with me, I'm like, sorry, you're not getting a weekly check-in with me. We're going to be doing almost daily. Yeah. Like, I just text everybody, like, every day. I'm like, how's it going? How's it going? And sometimes people are great. Sometimes people just need to hear or see my test, and they're like, oh, my God, it's a shit show. Yeah. And I can talk them off the cliff, and I feel great about it. So that's kind of where my my world has gone now, which is, it's nice. It is really nice, and it's nice to be able to touch people where I was very limited on what I could take before because they would be, 2-hour sessions at the gym multiple times a day. Yeah. Now I get I do boot camp in the morning, I get 45 minutes, which is my cardio. That's the only cardio that I do, except for being here, I had to get on the treadmill. But I don't do any extra cardio anymore. Right. I used to train cardio as often as I could just to stay lean. I don't do that anymore. I do kickboxing, which has been fun. That's like my new outlet. And I train heavy in the gym, and I get there once a day. So that's kind of, it's a shift. But that part, I think I'm happy about. And what I felt, and I completely had forgotten about this, but since it had been 5 years, is during the last 2 or 3 weeks of prep for both of those shows in September and November, I wasn't motivated to make videos. Like, I was exhausted. I didn't feel like my brain, I wasn't creative. I was still putting out content, but maybe not as much. I would want to take a nap instead of going live on TikTok or Instagram or something like that. Sure. So like that, again, it's like that, dude, like that's what I want. I want to talk to people every day. Like my goal is to get on live 3 times a week, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok or more. So like the fact that that was another relief for me. Like I don't have to ever worry about not being motivated to go do what I need to do for content, for talking to people, interacting. So that was another relief for me. So supplements, that's actually a good place to go right now. Has your supplementation changed at all? Okay, so mine has. I couldn't take, or I would have to come off of recomp was a big one. I love the fullness of my muscles, but when I was getting ready to compete, I couldn't get under 140.
Oh yeah, because you have weight class.
Yeah, weight class. So the stronger you get, the more muscle you put on, the heavier, the more dense, the heavier you're going to be. And I was actually having a really hard time at the end of my competition days, which is not that long ago. But
when was the last time?
2020 was my last competition. Okay.
Well, that's long.
November 2020. Yeah, and it's 2023 now. So November of 2020, I did America's Strongest Woman. So, but I could not get my weight down, and that was a challenge.
So was that the only one you pulled?
That was, well, pulled that. I pulled EpiCat, which now is EpiSmash.
Yes.
But yeah, so I pulled those two. I think those were the only two that I had to pull. And Formula 19 I was on regularly. Yeah. And now I'm actually not on that now.
I didn't do. I was.
I don't
doing
find that I need it right now with the way that I'm training. But I was taking that, like, during my sessions. I needed the carbs. Yeah. So I was taking that with all my sessions. But so that was added in during strongman training. Now I've pulled that out, but I put Recomp and EpiSmash back in. Okay. So, and honestly, I'm like 143 right now. So normally I would compete at 140 and I'd walk around like 147-ish. So I'm kind of like splitting the difference, I guess, but I actually can be honest and say that I feel better now. I don't feel as beat up.
I was just going to say maybe like more flexible.
I am more flexible, and my lat was I was constantly like, this whole side of my body was just like gripped up, and I constantly had to have body work to like let it release. But now I can train around my injuries. I don't have to train through them. So I feel healthier. So if something's irritating me and it's supposed to be back day, and I'm like, you know what? It is inflamed right now. I'm not doing back today. Yeah. Like, that's just it. Yeah. I can make that call. Where some people like live and breathe by their schedule, their routine. I'll just change it up. Like, and I'll even do like the other day, me and my girlfriend did, it was quad and shoulder day. Like, who stacks that? I saw
on the stories.
Yeah, like, who stacks that? But it doesn't matter. It just has to work for you. Right. And that's, like, what is working for me right now. So it's just kind of getting used to this new realm of training. So.
And you want to know what I didn't mention? Like, for me, when I'm in like, I actually like when people come up to me at the gym and they're like, what are you prepping for? And I'm like, nothing. Like, But then when I was competing, I would say I'm prepping for a show. And then I love going to the gym because I love going to the gym, but when I know that I had to go to the gym because I'm prepping for a show, it felt like work. Yeah. So the feeling of going to the gym didn't feel the same, even though it's the same exact goal. Like, I'm just going in because I love the process, but knowing I'm going in because I'm competing and knowing I'm going in just because I want to work out just feels two different ways. Yeah. So I'm back to, like, feeling.
And the other thing, too, going to the gym, like just saying it felt like a chore. When I would go to the gym when I was competing, it was. I loved it, but it was a chore, and I was always by myself. Always. And I could not get away. People were afraid to train with me. Like, guys were afraid to train with me.
Well, we even talked about that when I had said, I'm going to do the CrossFit with you, and you're like, nobody wants to do that.
Nobody ever wants to work out with me. Now, I have girlfriends at the gym that love to work out with me, and it's so much fun.
And I'll tell you, that was one thing that I did love about, I will say, the only thing that I loved about competing out here in Vegas as opposed to in California, all the times that I competed in California, I always did work out by myself. Mm-hmm. So the family that I have now over at Fit Club in Las Vegas, like, I have my girl Danielle that I work out. Andy trains me once a week. It's like I had people that I trained with, and I never had workout partners.
They lift you up.
I never had workout partners. I never had anybody backstage with me whenever I did compete.
We've talked about this from, like, the moment we trained together for the first time. Like, it was so fun.
I never had anybody to train. Yeah.
Yeah, we still push each other.
Yeah, hell yeah we do. So one thing that we didn't say we were going to talk about, but what is your physical goal? So I'll tell you mine. My physical goal is I want to stay this lean. I don't mind if I was to put on a little bit more body fat, but my goal is to get, let's say, another 1.5 to 2 inches. If it was last week, it would have only been an inch on my glutes. I want to get, because it shrunk, that we talked about in the last leg day video that you probably watched, if we're going in order, whatever. My quads, another inch, and my hamstrings beefy. My upper body, I just want to keep the same. Okay. So that's my goal. What's your goal?
So I want my glutes to grow. Because of the sports that I've competed in, I feel like they've always been strong, but not full. Okay. So now I can actually focus. Because I would be like, oh my God, look, they're growing. And then I would get into cutting for a competition, and boom, they're gone. Yeah. So that is the most frustrating thing for me. And in the beginning of the year, we talked about, I lost a lot of weight. I was down like 139 pounds. Saw all my lines. I felt really good, but I was too lean because my butt went completely gone. I even got a little bit of hate in some videos. So, because my butt was literally gone. It was completely gone. But I cut so fast that I didn't allow myself to hold on to any of the muscle. Right. So the fullness just dropped off. So I do want my glutes to be fuller, and I just said to you a little earlier, I've always been so boxy.
Oh yeah.
And I'm starting to see an hourglass, and it kind of feels a little sexy. So now that I have my boobs redone, I'd like to balance it out with my butt, which is growing.
And then Coke bottle.
It is actually growing, guys. And then a little bit of the Coke bottle thing is what I'm... I do like to see my lines, but I don't need to be as lean as I was in the beginning of the year. That was a little bit too much. Considering I'm not competing, it was a little bit much. But it is also really nice to know that should I choose to diet real hard, I can get there. Because sometimes you go through like I do, we go out to dinner, we drink alcohol, we definitely have fun. You can take it too far. And I think that in the last few years, I have taken it too far. So now to be able to say like, okay, let's take a step back, let's reel it all in. It's not, I don't have to blame it on like, oh, I'm just getting older. No, I can get there. And I clearly have the ability to cut all that weight and go really hard again.
But you could also still enjoy yourself, which is what I teach people, balance. Maybe just not every night. I don't think you're doing it every night, but maybe not as much. But, and then still, you know, balance out. Like eat clean and then have like a refeed or a cheat or whatever it is. Yeah, so now I keep my cheats to, once a week, and it's only food that I really, really want. I'm not going to go out and just like we were saying, like I can't have a burger. A burger like bloats me. But I'm not going to just have a burger because everybody's having a burger. Right. I'm not going to use that as a cheat meal. Right. It's just not happening. Right. So I make my decisions more aggressively. Purposeful, yes. Yeah. All right. Okay. Are we good? I think we're good. All right. Yeah, so that is our story. We're both retired, but still training really hard. So. Yeah, you're still going to probably enjoy us even more. Yeah. Because now we have fun with it. Yeah. I mean, I always did. She just has to change her mindset to have fun with it. Yeah, and I guess you'll see what kind of goals I have going forward, because I do really like that idea. Yeah. So I can document my goals. Document the glute growth and document the waist thing and talk about what you did. Yeah. I like it. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do that, so you guys can stay tuned. All right. All right. Well, make sure that you comment below. Let us know what you think. If anything jumps out at you, throw in the comments below, and we will respond as always. Make sure you like the video. Subscribe. And smash that like. Smash it all. And we'll see you next time.